when going through that short list of the very greatest cricketers of all time, W.G. Grace is definitely near the top of that list. The first true cricket superstar from the 1800s. This might be Grace's most iconic card, the 1896 Wills. And these were some of the first ever cricket sets. Grace did have one card from the 1880s. But apart from that, very few cards from before this era, 1896. And while that might seem really old, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that when these cards were made, Grace was already getting close to 50 years old. And when this card, the 1901 Wills, came out, and then these Ogdens, basically all these other cards, Grace was already in his 50s. This one came out when Grace was much older. He was already, 70. But yeah, all these cards, Grace was in his older age. So, still iconic, still important cards. But me, I really enjoy rookie cards or very early issues of players. So it's always been a little bit frustrating for me, getting cards of a player who's already past his prime. So I started trying to get creative. I mentioned there's an 1880s card. I do not have that one, or else I'd be showing it. That is the Old Judge. I think two of them have come on the market in the last few years. So very, very, very rare card, and maybe $5,000 to $10,000 card if you can find it. So I figured this would probably be the oldest piece of authentic Grace material, aka a card that I'd get a hold of. But I'm happy to share. Here for the punchline. I've actually tracked down several items of Grace that are not only earlier than 1896, they're actually significantly older than the Old Judge. And this is the first one. This is a team shot of Grace. And you can see it's not just him, it's also his brothers. G.F. Grace is there above him, and then E.M. Grace is on the right. This photo here is dated around 1875, 1876. And this is an authentic photo from that era. So was extremely happy to pick this up. But not to be outdone, here is another team photo that's even earlier. I think this one's about 1873, 1874. So another really cool one. That's, again, Grace's brothers behind him. And this one is printed on, or posted on some black cardboard, thick black cardboard. But that's an authentic picture. Both of these from the 1870s. I don't know really anything about where these came from other than that. This one was printed on some newspaper. And somebody, I don't know if that was an original design or if that was how it came in the newspaper or what, but it looks like newspaper at least. It could have, I guess, been a book. So those were awesome, and I thought those would be the best Grace authentic issues of that era that I would find until, zoom out a little bit, I found not one but two individual photos of Grace from the 1870s. This one here, I believe, dates around 1876, 1877. And then an even older one here. This one dates around 1873. You can see it's got that photo quality of that era. But yeah, check out that baby face. So again, when you think about the Grace that we're used to seeing, it's this one, who's about 48 there, 51 here, right? Like that's the image of Grace we're used to. A little overweight, which makes sense. The guy was 52 in that picture, maybe even a little older, 54 maybe. But there is a 25-year-old Grace in his prime who was a medical doctor, an expert on the game, one of the greatest players of all time, definitely the greatest player of his era, that really was the most popular man in England, probably up there, top 2 or 3 with the prime minister, the king, whatever. So very happy to pick these up. Never thought I'd be able to get my hands on Grace from this era. And yeah, I'd say that these four here, even more than my cards, are my favorite Grace items that I own. And yeah, I was really happy to pick those up. Yeah, I don't have a great card collection of Grace, to be honest with you. Again, I never was able to find that 1880s old Judge card. But I'm very happy with these, and although these aren't technically cards, that's good enough for me when I'm looking for my Grace rookie.